The cabinet meeting is over. Remember, it started at 6:30 and it has been 2 hours. And the message that is coming in from the government is that there will be no press conference, no press release and no update. So in a very, very brief way, the suspense is only continuing. No briefing, no release is a message that has come from the government. So what really happened in the cabinet meeting? What has been approved by the union cabinet? Will that be taken up tomorrow itself? Whether it is about the 8 bills which are listed by the government already, all that is in the realm of speculation now. No briefing, no release is the message that is coming in from the government. I have 2 senior journalists who have tracked Parliament for years. Javed Ansari and Sanjay Singh are joining me live here. We also have Smita Gupta on Zoom joining me as well. No release, no... So speculation is going to continue now, Javed sir.
Yes, the only thing predictable about this government is its unpredictability. Expect the unexpected. I do hope that there will be something special about this special session. The Prime Minister believes in keeping everybody guessing, and it's not very advisable to try and second guess this government, because every time we journalists have tried to do that, we've ended up with egg on our face. So I, for one, will hold my horses and wait for the government.
That's quite an honest acceptance, you know.
Yeah, because I'm not connected.
No,
I'm not wired into this government.
As someone who has covered the government, even I'm not supposed to be because we have got all the speculation wrong in the past.
Yeah, this time it's slightly different. This relates to Parliament session. Yeah. But of course, that suspense and that surprise has become kind of a USP for this government. We saw that in nomination of President, Vice President, in terms of appointments, in terms of few other things, an important constitutional amendment like Article 370. This has happened. But this time around, the speculation, I don't know, has gone completely wild. Even as the government has listed out a certain agenda for this session. Even today we had a full day discussion in both houses of Parliament. But then the speculation about the cabinet meeting which has happened just now. The norm is when Parliament is in session, if a cabinet meeting is held, generally there is no briefing about that, because it is then prerogative of the MPs in both houses of Parliament to know about the cabinet decisions, and government is supposed to announce that.
This is not for the first time that the government is not briefing after a cabinet decision.
Yeah.
We'll know about it perhaps tomorrow.
This is generally a convention that when Parliament is in session, there is no cabinet briefing, because the government has to inform Parliament first about that. There have been exceptions, I agree.
It certainly adds to the intrigue, given that it comes in the background, in the backdrop of so much speculation. Then it's not every day that there is a special session, no. So that's also unprecedented.
Okay. Smita,
so it all adds to the uncertainty.
Smita, there was a lot of there was guesses that were happening here that perhaps we'll know about some indication that could come from the government after 2 hours of cabinet meeting. That did not happen. So another 12 hours or perhaps longer till we know as to what is these historic decisions that the Prime Minister has been hinting at.
Absolutely. I mean, as Javed said before me, in this government specializes in shock and awe. So, there will be a surprise perhaps tomorrow, but the point that I would really like to make is that when you have a special session of Parliament, it would have been proper for the government to have told the opposition parties, the rest of Parliament, what the special session was in aid of. Was it to celebrate the 75th anniversary of this country? Was it, as some people are speculating, to, pass the women's bill? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Nobody really knows. But I just think that this is in line with what has been happening.
I think that has been rightly put, Smita. Your guess is as good as mine, because really we do not know what is going to happen. There's a lot of speculation, whether it will be women's reservation bill, perhaps OBC reservation in Lok Sabha and in assemblies on similar lines that we have seen for the SCs, STs. Well, the government says we have seen there is that pattern which has emerged in which there is that visible OBC push the cabinet reshuffle when it happened. We saw that imprint of OBC MPs being given important portfolios. Then there is that, again, messaging which has been there very critical because the BJP understands the push that is coming in, particularly from the India bloc. Today was also the day when the Central Hall and all its stories will come to an end. And this is what the Prime Minister had to say, and I'm going to go back to the journalists who have been inside Central Hall, who have carried so many stories from Central Halls and perhaps have broken them in the past as well.
मैं उन पत्रकार मित्रों को भी याद करना चाहता हूं जिन्होंने जीवन में, कुछ लोग तो ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने पूरा जीवन अपने कार्यकाल में संसद के काम को ही उन्होंने रिपोर्ट किया है। उनका सामर्थ्य था वो अंदर की भी पहुंचाते थे और अंदर के अंदर की भी पहुंचाते थे। यानी एक प्रकार से जैसी ताकत यहां की दीवारों की रही है, वैसा ही दर्पण उनकी कलम में रहा है और उस कलम ने देश के अंदर संसद के प्रति, संसद सदस्यों के प्रति एक अहोभाव का भाव जगाया है। मेरे लिए जैसा ये सदन छोड़ना भावुकपन है, मैं पक्का मानता हूं इन पत्रकार बंधुओं के लिए भी ये सदन छोड़ना उतना ही भावुकपन होगा।
Smita, your thoughts on what Prime Minister has said and any memories you want to share about the conversations and big stories and big scoops that you managed in the Central Hall?
Well, for one thing, one of the rules of Central Hall was that you would never,
Smita, if you can hear me. Yes.
I said one of the rules of being a Central Hall pass holder was that you would never reveal your sources over there. But yes, I think the years that we managed to spend in Central Hall was a great learning process, because when you sat over there, at one go you were able to get a total 360-degree view of what was happening on a particular issue. You would get to know how policies were being framed, how people were opposing policies, meaning from another political party. As soon as a particular debate was over, the MPs would stream into the House and you would get their first thoughts, after a particular debate, whether it had turned out well for somebody or whether somebody had made a spectacular speech or, So I think it was, for journalists, it's the fact that there will be no Central
Hall and there are multiple camps that were visible.
Yes.
For Javed Saab, for us who started covering Parliament in 2008, we were perhaps waiting for that day when we will be given Central Hall passes, because it was about greater access to leaders, getting to know them better, getting to know their stories a lot. And Mr. Jaitley used to spend hours inside Central Hall to engage with all of you.
Yes,
so was Ahmed Patel.
The joke with Mr. Jaitley was that apart from all the ministries that he held, he was also informally the horticulture minister of this government, where he would, and we used to joke with him that had he been a cricketer, he would have been a better spinner than Bishan Singh Bedi, because he would always spin a yarn that was give everything a positive spin as far as this government was concerned. But the thing about Central Hall was that everything was informal. You couldn't quote what was happening there or whatever leaders said, but you got the gist. You got the drift of what was happening. You got the inside story without quoting people, and betraying confidences was never on. I've seen leaders who would be at loggerheads on the floor of the House, and the moment they came to Central Hall, they'd be breaking bread together. So that was the very idea. It's sad. I'm particularly sad that Central Hall, access to Central Hall has been closed. And I hope even at this late stage, those in power will rethink.
Okay. I'm coming to you, Sanjay, in just a bit, because there is a quick update that is coming in from the government sources who are telling us that former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, JMM patron and veteran leader Shibu Soren, BJP MP Menaka Gandhi have all been invited to address the special function in Central Hall of Parliament tomorrow. So special invitations being extended to former MPs. Shibu Soren, of course, has been a former Chief Minister of Jharkhand as well. Himanshu, please go ahead, give us the details. Who else has been invited?
Well, these are three leaders who have the most experience. They're the senior most MPs at the moment. Manmohan Singh is the senior most MP in Rajya Sabha. Maneka Gandhi has served the maximum number of terms as Lok Sabha MP. And for Shibu Soren, he has spent most number of time, if you just add up his tenure in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And that is why government has specially chosen these three very prominent politicians who have had a very long, cherished tenure in Parliament in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And a senior cabinet minister has told me that these three leaders have been, their request has been made that they should speak for at least 5 minutes, recounting their experience, their contribution, and the role of Parliament in nation building. And so clearly now senior ministers have gone inside. They are overseeing the preparations now in Central Hall. And clearly a very historic day, and government wants to ensure that all those important prominent politicians who have played the most important role in building up Parliament as a national institution are given due respect. And we'll have to wait and see how these three leaders and what issues actually they raise when they get up to speak during the special function, which starts exactly at 11 a.m. In the Central Hall. And this is the last function in the old Parliament building as of today.
Yes, and it's quite interesting, the invitation that has been extended, Sanjay, isn't it?
The choice of three names, of course, as you said, are very interesting. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister for 10 years. But we saw last frame of Manmohan Singh when that Delhi ordinance was to be converted, Delhi Services Ordinance was to be converted in bill. And people actually seeing Manmohan Singh in not his best of health and coming to Rajya Sabha on wheelchair, that was not very comfortable for people to see somebody who has been Prime Minister for 10 years. Today he referred about Manmohan Singh from Nehru, Pandit Nehru to Manmohan Singh to all the Prime Ministers, and last one was of course Manmohan Singh. You also know that BJP ran its whole campaign on Maa Bete Ki Sarkar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ran this whole campaign. But since this is a completely bipartisan event, he invited Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. That of course is a very good message in terms of messaging from the Central Hall when they will be moving to new Parliament House. Shibu Soren, Maria, Shibu Soren was somebody who had been on both sides with BJP and with Congress. He was a minister, if I'm not wrong. Then police came and arrested him. This thing was pasted. Lookout notice was pasted on his house.
Gandhi, again, a very interesting choice because of having served in Pilibhit for
Precisely. But then again, Maneka Gandhi was minister in last government. BJP not in very good relations. And his son Varun Gandhi not in best of relations.
I think it's about the institution, that is the Parliament, that is being put on focus. Thank you so much, Smita Gupta, Sanjay Singh and Javed Ansari.